Hi, I'm Emily Otterman, and if you're here, you likely own a piece of encaustic artwork. What is encaustic anyway? Well, it's comprised of two natural materials, beeswax and damar resin. Beeswax on its own is quite a soft material, and damar resin is added to beeswax to make the material tougher so that it's more applicable for an artistic application. Encaustic needs to be bonded with heat, so I use a heat gun or a blowtorch. If it's a large piece, I will use a blowtorch because it covers a greater area in a shorter period of time. Encaustic needs to be cured. The process for curing takes between 6 to 12 months, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. And during that time period, what happens is a naturally occurring hazy, matte white residue goes to the top of the surface of the encaustic. And it also might occur if the piece is exposed to cold temperatures. You might get some bloom that happens then. So that residue is called bloom. It's easily removed. All you have to do is buff the surface, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. First, a little bit about caring for encaustic artwork. Basically, you would treat it the same as any other fine art. You don't want to have it in direct sunlight. You run the risk of it yellowing or fading. You want to have it at room temperature as much as possible. You want to avoid extreme temperature shifts. So you don't want it to be in freezing temperatures, and you don't want it to be in hot temperatures. Freezing temperatures, the encaustic could chip or break or crack. And in hot temperatures, so wax begins to melt at 150 degrees Fahrenheit or 65 degrees Celsius. So you don't want to have it exposed to really super high heat. And a little bit about framing an encaustic piece. You don't want to put that behind glass. Encaustic medium is a natural material and it needs to breathe, so don't put it behind glass. My pieces are on panels. They typically don't need framing. They don't need any further framing. However, if you did want to present it a little bit differently, more of a finished look maybe, I would suggest putting it into a floater frame. This is a floater frame. And the piece would go right in here like this, and then it's attached at the back. But it's an attractive option, and what it does is it protects the edges from chips and scratches and dents. It, gives a surface to protect it. And if you needed to transport your encaustic artwork, you would want to cover the face of it. So you want to cover the surface with either parchment paper or glassine. Parchment paper is a little bit more opaque. Tape does not stick to parchment paper, so I actually prefer glassine. It's a shinier finish and a little bit lighter and a little bit more transparent. So you want to cover the surface with that before you pack it away or before you transport it anywhere, just so that it's got some protection there. You don't want to use bubble wrap or anything that's got a texture on it, because that texture could imprint into the surface of your encaustic. If you need to ship your artwork, you could have a box created the appropriate size for the artwork. Now, about buffing your encaustic. It can be buffed to a beautiful sheen. So you can see how the light is reflecting there. I've buffed this as I do all the pieces, all of my encaustic pieces. I buff to a fairly high sheen. And I like the sheen because I think that it enhances the natural characteristics of the wax. You can see the textures that I deliberately put into the piece. So I like to have a sheen. And if you want to maintain the sheen, I'm going to show you how to do the buffing. The best fabric is cotton knit jersey. It's stretchy, the fibers are tight and soft. It's just a perfect thing to use. My encaustic pieces come with a little buffing cloth for you and instructions. You want to roll up your cloth into a smooth ball. Kind of like that. You don't want to have any wrinkles or any creases in the portion that's going to be touching or that you're going to be buffing the surface with, because that could cause scratches into the surface of the encaustic. You don't want that. The other option, other than a ball, is you could do it more like a square. So folding and folding and folding, and then using this part as your buff. Another option, these dryer balls, these are woolen dryer balls, laundry balls. These are great, especially for larger pieces. And what you want to do is just cover that woolen ball and then do your buffing with that. So I'm just going to show you how to do this. It's very simple. This is a piece that does have a little bit of bloom on it, even though you really probably can't see it. There's not a great sheen to this yet. So I'm going to show you the difference. So now, and then just, you want to do it in circular motions and very gently, not too soft and not too hard. And you just buff it up. You can see the sheen there. Much shinier down here where I've buffed than it is up here. Now there's other things just to take into consideration. On some of my panels and some of my work, I embed different materials into it. This has gold leaf in it. The gold leaf is bonded in, so it's not going to fall off. But when you are buffing, you just want to be a little bit more gentle on those areas. So that's it. Easy peasy. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is probably the best, emily@emilyotterman.com. And I hope you enjoy your encaustic artwork for many years to come.